Right, can everybody hear me? Right, good evening, everybody. My name's Roland Eva. Um, it's a few minutes before 8 o'clock, so we're not going to get started just yet, but I just wanted to make sure that everybody can hear me and that you can see the slides. So if you could just write something in the chat box just to let me know if you can see the slides. You should see a slide that says the only 3 things you need to build your dream business. So if you could let me know if you could see that and if you could hear me, that would be greatly appreciated. Is anybody there? Can you hear me? Okay, excellent. Thank you for letting me know, Anthony. Yes, I can hear you. Fantastic. Thank you for letting me know, Linda. Great. So we'll get started in a few minutes. Excellent. Thanks for letting me know you can hear me. We'll get started in a few minutes. I'll just wait until 8 o'clock until for a few more people to arrive, and then we'll get started. Right, so the clock's chimed 8 o'clock by my watch, so I'd just like to say good evening, everybody. My name is Roland Eva, and I'd like to thank you so much for taking the time to join me tonight to learn the only 3 things you need to build your dream business, a business that gives you the income and lifestyle that you want. Tonight, as you'll learn tonight, I spent 7 years learning how to write a letter or a video script that makes money on demand. And during that 7-year journey, I also learned how to relax with the security of knowing where your next sale is coming from because of the assets that you build and put in place. And I'll share all of this with you tonight. I'll share with you how I accidentally discovered how to make £673,000 in 9 days, and how I took that experience and transformed it into a simple 3-step system so that level of success could be repeated across multiple industries for both products and services. Tonight, you'll learn what these 3 things are and how you can use them in your business. But before we go any further, I'd just like to say that unfortunately, Lilac is unable to join us tonight due to an unexpected emergency. So it's just myself that you've got tonight, and I hope that's okay. So, I really do want to thank you for joining me tonight and for trusting me to help you build your dream business. Time is the most precious commodity we have, and I guarantee that tonight's training will be the best investment that you could make in yourself and in your business. So what are you going to learn? You're going to learn the only 3 things you need to build your dream business. You'll learn how to make money on demand without a sales team and how to relax with the security of knowing where your next sale is coming from. So these 3 steps are going to take you from where you are today to what I call the promised land of your dream business. And you'll learn the only 3 things that you need to build your dream business, a business that gives you the income and lifestyle that you want. So what are these 3 things, right? So the first is to find and clone your ideal customer. So your ideal customer is somebody that needs your help and is willing to pay for it. The second thing is to earn their trust. So to build, to start a relationship with them, build a relationship with them. And then the third and final thing is to make them feel good about buying. So as a thank you gift from me, at the end of tonight's training, I'd like to give you my ebook, which is the Ultimate Business Plan. And this shows you how to accurately calculate the time and cost to achieve your goals. And it will show you how to use the 3 steps that we're going to cover tonight, and then how you can use those to accurately calculate the time and cost to achieve your goals. So who am I and why should you listen to anything that I have to say? So as I've already mentioned, I'm the guy that accidentally discovered how to make £673,000 in 9 days. And, it might sound crazy to say accidentally, but I'm going to show you why it really was a very chaotic journey and, how that result completely blew my mind. So I took that result and I transformed it into a repeatable system that works in any industry to sell products and services at any price. So I've used this in the property investment industry. I've used it in business opportunity, entrepreneurship, finance, weight loss, alternative health, software, and consulting. And I've used it to sell products and services ranging in price from £5 to £12,000. So I know that it will work for you. But as I've said, it was an accidental discovery. And the reason was that my 7-year journey to learn how marketing could make money on demand without a sales team was chaotic, stressful, and thrilling. So where did it all start? So it all started on Monday, the 15th of September, 2008. Now, do you remember where you were on Monday, the 15th of September, 2008? Now, you might be thinking, Roland, you're absolutely crazy. I can't remember what I had for lunch yesterday. There's no way I can remember what I was doing 11 years ago. But something huge happened that day. Something that I think will make all of us remember that day. You see, that was the day when Lehman Brothers went bust. And I remember exactly where I was when I heard the news. I was sat on the edge. I was sat in a hotel room in Barcelona. And I absent-mindedly turned on the television while I was waiting for my wife to take a shower before we went out for dinner. And the only TV channel in English was the news. And what I saw kept me wide-eyed and open-mouthed. I mean, I literally couldn't take my eyes off the TV. And as I forced my wife to wait before we went out for dinner, and then, I was looking for answers. I wanted to know what it all meant. But on that day, all the TV pundits had were facts. The facts of what had happened, the facts that Lehman Brothers had gone bust, the facts that the Federal Reserve had refused to bail them out, the facts that this had sent financial markets across the world into free fall. But so what? What did it mean? So as I walked through the narrow streets of Barcelona to a recommended restaurant with my wife, I tried to explain to her why I'd forced her to wait. And I said, the investment bank Lehman Brothers has gone bust. And she said, so what? How does that affect us? Fairly reasonable question. And, I'm not an economic analyst, and I certainly wasn't pretending to be. But I said to her, I think that the banks are going to stop lending, that they're going to start calling in loans, that a lot of businesses are going to stop investing in growth, and that a lot of service businesses are going to go bust. Now, why did I believe that? I believed that because I knew some entrepreneurs that had successful businesses that had failed in the recession of the 90s. So I was looking at the past to predict the future. So that was my prediction of what was going to happen. But what I couldn't tell you is why I thought so many other businesses would fail and why I believe mine would succeed. I was just determined that it would. Now, unfortunately, determination without a proven plan only fanned the flames of my failure. So my plan was simple. My success plan was simple. It was call more customers than any of my competitors and steal business from them. That was my plan. And if that's what I did, maybe it would have worked. But what I did was what I knew. And what I knew was how to get really cheap traffic through Facebook ads and Google ads. So what I did was send increasing amounts of people to a website that had virtually no copy. So as a photographer and graphic designer, I had a very pretty website. But what I didn't do was tell potential customers who I am, how I can help them, what makes me different, and why they should do business with me over anyone else. So I was expecting them to finish my thought. I was expecting potential customers to look at my website and immediately decide that I was the photographer or graphic designer for them, and that they should pick up the phone and give me a call. But that's not what happened. Why? Because if you want someone to take a specific action, then you've got to tell them what action to take. So something as simple as give me a call or drop me an email to discuss your wedding would have been sufficient. Yeah, that would have been better than what I was doing, which was nothing at all. So after a couple of months, I could see that I was in checkmate. I could see that I was spending huge amounts of money, but that it wasn't bringing in any new business. And I could see that I was trying to spend my way to success rather than learn my way to success. And, how did I feel during this time? I felt angry. I felt frustrated. But most of all, I felt terrified. I felt terrified because I could see that my business was failing and I was powerless to do anything about it. Also, I was terrified because what would I do next if my business failed? Well, life forces you to face your worst fears. And my worst fears came when I ran out of savings. Yeah, that was when I had to close the doors on my business. And I had to say, well, what was I going to do next? Well, as I closed the doors on my business, I made a commitment to myself. I made a commitment to myself to discover how marketing could make money on demand. Now, you have to understand that I didn't know if that was possible. I had no idea who could teach me. And if I found out who could teach me, I had no money to pay for their help. So I had no money, no idea, just belief. And I did the only thing that I could do next, which was to get a job. So I got a job for a specialist PC gaming distributor. And if you're a PC gamer, then names like Razer, Sennheiser, Corsair will mean something to you. But if, like me, you're a Mac user and you've never played a computer game in your life, then you'll have to take my word for it that these are huge brands. These are like Apple, Amazon, and Nike in our world. Now, for someone that doesn't play computer games, I was surprisingly good at my job. Why? Because I understood the customer and what would influence their purchase decision. So I had great relationships with the biggest magazines and websites. Remember, these are PC gamers, so they're going to spend time online. They are going to read online reviews. And whenever I got a new piece of kit, I could call up these editors and say, I've got something, your audience is going to love it. And they would say, Roland, I trust you, send it to me. And, it seemed like the next issue of the magazine, there would be a picture of this new piece of kit on the cover with a 4 or 6 page review of it. It was fantastic. I then supported the editorial coverage with advertising, and I also sponsored esports competitions. So in the same way that people watch professional footballers play football, hardcore PC gamers watch professional gamers play computer games. So I was, quote unquote, doing all the right things. I was getting in front of the right people. And the brands loved my work and they lavished me with praise. But I felt like a fraud. Why? Because after spending £100,000 of their money, I couldn't prove that marketing had made a single sale. Yeah, I was doing all the right things, but that was just like my photography and graphic design business. I had no idea if the promotional activity that I had done had made a single sale. Yeah, I could see that sales had gone up, but was that because of what I was doing, or was that because of the sales team? So I felt like I'd walked down a time-consuming dead end. I wasn't going to learn the secrets of persuasion in my job. So I turned to traditional education, and the biggest name in marketing education is the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So if you want to become marketing director, you need their qualifications on your CV. And 90% of the people that do their courses have them paid for by their company. Now, my company refused to pay for them. They said, we don't see the value for us. Now, of course, I was on my own journey. This was a personal journey for me. And so I happily paid for these courses myself. But it was a sacrifice to do that. The courses were £3,000 a year. And at the time, I was only earning £21,000 a year. So it was a sacrifice for myself and for my family. Now, I spent, I did two of their courses. So I spent 2 years of my life, £6,000 of my hard-earned savings or hard-earned money. And I can't say that their courses are bad, but they will not show you how marketing can make money on demand without a sales team. So after sacrificing 2 years of my life, after sacrificing weekends to work, and also sacrificing holidays and dinners out to pay for the course, I eventually had to sit down with my wife and tell her that I had failed. I had to tell her that I was no closer to discovering how marketing could make money on demand. But I also had to tell her that I didn't want to quit. I wasn't giving up on my journey, because I believed that this would change our lives. And I asked her if she would endure future sacrifices with me. And to my delight, she said she would. But where was I going to turn? I'd walked down a time-consuming dead end in my job. I'd then walked down a costly and time-consuming dead end with the Chartered Institute of Marketing. So where else was I going to turn? Well, I played the only card that I had, and that was to get another job. So I got a job for a property education company, and my job was simple. It was to find qualified leads for the sales team. There was just one problem. I had no idea how to do this. So I failed miserably. For months, I was failing miserably. And every day, I was absolutely terrified that I was going to get fired. I was terrified that somebody would say, you have no idea what you're doing, get out. And that all changed one day when my boss made a throwaway comment. He said, why don't you read some books by Dan Kennedy and learn more about direct response marketing? So I went onto Amazon, and a couple of days later, Dan Kennedy's No BS Direct Response Marketing arrived. And this was what I call finding the map to El Dorado, the fabled city of gold. I'd finally discovered how marketing could make money on demand without a sales team. I'd finally discovered what I've been looking for, which was, somebody to teach me the skills to do this. And I would love to tell you that I read one book and then I was able to make loads of money. But that's not what happened. One book led to another, which led to another, which led to a course, which led to a mentorship program. And each step took me further down the rabbit hole with greater levels of excitement and determination. Now, I was still paying for the education from my salary. So I was still forcing my wife to make sacrifices. And every time I learned something new, I tested the ideas out in my job and with my consulting clients. And every time I learned something new, I got a better response. So I had real world feedback that this works. But it felt like a huge amount of work for a tiny increase in response. Now that all changed in December 2014. So in September 2014, my daughter was born. So you can see her pictured here, and she's 48 hours old. So when you can measure somebody's age in hours, you know they're going to be tiny. So she was born in September, and in December, I took the entire month off work to spend time with her. And when she was sleeping, I was studying. And I set myself a deadline of New Year to learn about this new form of marketing called product launches. So for roughly 6 hours a day, I was studying. And by New Year, a deadline helps you focus your attention. So by New Year, I'd learned how this system worked, and I was excited to try it out. And I remember the 5th of January, 2015, it was the first day of the year, the first working day of the year. And my boss sits me down and he says, I want us to be the biggest name in the UK for this new business opportunity, which is selling white label products on Amazon. And I said, great. The only way we're going to do it is with this new form of marketing that I've discovered. And he said, you're the marketing manager, do what you think's right. And I was shocked. I was like, wow, I was expecting some resistance. So no, he said, go ahead, do what you want. I was like, great. So then I sat down with my team and I gave my most impassioned rap. Now, I would love to tell you that we sat around a campfire like this, but no, we were just sat in a meeting room. And, I stood up and I told them about this new form of marketing and how it's going to change our lives. And they looked at me like I was crazy. Then I wrote the target on the wall. I said, we're going to sell 1,000 workshops in 9 days. Now, to put that into some kind of perspective, 200 would have been good. 300 would have been amazing. So 1,000 was just way beyond anybody's wildest imagination. So they hated the idea because it meant throwing away everything that we'd done before. It was a lot more work and a lot more risk. And they thought I was completely crazy setting a target that high. So I forced this idea through. But in doing so, I backed myself into a very dangerous corner. And it felt like if I failed, I might get fired. So we put together this campaign, and after the first day of selling, we'd sold 32 workshops. Now, if your target's 200, that's not bad. But if your target's 1,000, you are a long way from Kansas. So everybody's looking at me like, oh man, you failed, it's all over. And I'm like, let's just make the next 8 days great. Now, I had complete faith in this system, even though there was no reason why I should, because I had never used this system before. It was an academic idea up to that point. And I didn't even know anybody that had used this system. So this was a giant leap of faith, but it just made sense to me. I was like, this has to work. So at the end of that campaign, so at the end of the 9-day period, we had sold 1,115 workshops. So we'd made £30,105 in 9 days. And I felt waves of relief. It was, I was delighted. I finally had proof that this worked. And it was like proof that my 7-year journey was worth it. This was a way in which, you could write a persuasive message that made money on demand without a sales team. And it made more money on demand than anything that I'd ever done in the past. So I was like, this is amazing. Now, did anybody after that say, hey, Roland, you crossed the line in triumphant style. You are clearly a genius? No, of course not. The only thing people wanted to ask me was, how can we make it better next time? So next time, we decided we were going to sell a £2,000 workshop. So I was pretty terrified and excited by this prospect because, I wanted to know, how powerful was this system? What were the limits of its scale? And what I knew was that this was the most powerful form of marketing that I'd discovered. But I had serious doubts about whether you could sell a £2,000 workshop for without without speaking to a sales team. Somebody's just asked, how long does this go on for? The story's going to finish soon, and we're going to get into the training in 2 minutes time. So where am I going with this? The point was, could you sell a £2,000 product without a sales team? And the answer was yes. The answer was, we made £673,000 in just 9 days. And I felt absolutely delighted. I felt like I'd crossed a threshold. And that had given myself unlimited opportunities to help myself and others. Now, I'd love to tell you that we celebrated like the Wolf of Wall Street, but no, we went to Nando's for lunch. You know, it's all about levels. I'm still working my way up to that one. But why have I told you this story? I've told you this story because I want you to know that what started out as a very chaotic journey ended up as a simple system that I've used in multiple industries. So what I'm going to share with you tonight are the only things that you need to make money on demand and to relax with the security of knowing where your next sale is coming from. So what are those 3 things? So the 3 things are how to find and clone your ideal customer, how to earn their trust, and how to make them feel good about buying. So let's look at the first step, which is how to find and clone your ideal customer. So what do you need to know? Well, first of all, you need to know who they are. You know, if you're trying to find somebody, you can't find them if you don't know who you're looking for. And then the second thing is, once you know who they are, where do you go to, to clone them? Where do you go to find people just like them? So the process of understanding who your ideal customer is what I call painting a portrait of your ideal customer. So like all processes, they require a little discipline. That's all, just a little discipline. And if you complete the 18-step process to paint a portrait of your ideal customer, you will put yourself ahead of most businesses. Because most businesses that I speak to have a very limited understanding of who their ideal customer is. And it's when they get clear on it that everything else gets easier. So let's look at this process. So the first process is, who are they? So this is, the biggest, broadest brush that you have. You're not looking for fine detail here. So this could be as simple as, I help women that have had a baby in the last 3 months to get back into their jeans. Okay, great. Or maybe it's, I help men over 40 to lose weight. Okay, fine. Or I help people to invest in property with none of their own money. Fine. So those are kind of big, broad statements of who are they. So get clear on who are they. The second is what I call their egoic label. How do they describe themselves? What invisible badges do they wear with pride? Now, one such badge, one badge that I wear with pride is proud father. So if you said to me, Roland, you're a terrible dad, then I would fight you over that statement. I would argue all day and all night. I would want to prove to you that no, I am a great dad and that I'm a proud father. Now, how is that relevant? Well, if I saw a message that said, what every proud father ought to know about raising confident kids, well, I would think, hey, this message is written for me. I would want to read the message. I would drop everything to read what it said. Why? Because of the use of the egoic label. So what other, badges do people wear with pride? Well, business owner, entrepreneur, graduate, doctor, investor. These are badges that people have to earn. So get clear on them. So what do they want? This is hugely important because people buy what they want and not what they need. So the best example of this is an alcoholic. An alcoholic knows he does not need another drink, but he wants one, and he wants one badly, and he will beg, borrow, and steal to get it. So similarly, what do your ideal customers want? And then what is preventing them from getting it? So I call this the obstacle. What's the obstacle that's standing between them and what they want? So the reason why you need to be clear about what the obstacle is or what it looks like is that if you can describe that better than your ideal customer, then you instantly earn their trust because they feel understood. The other reason why you need to describe it is that your job is to show them how you can remove the obstacle from their life so that they can get what they want faster and easier than anybody else. So to do that, you need to describe the obstacle. You certainly need to know what it is. So beliefs, what are their beliefs? Now, I'm not talking about religious beliefs or political beliefs here. These are things like, how do they see the world? Do they think that education is the shortcut to success? If so, great. All you need to do is prove to them that you're the right educator for them to help them achieve their goals. So what keeps them awake at night? Now, nothing's going to keep you awake at night unless it's, an imminent problem, a big problem. So something like, am I going to lose my job? That's going to keep you awake at night. Or can I afford to pay the mortgage? That'll keep you awake at night. Or, I hope my car will pass its MOT. Now, why is that relevant? Because if you write a message that shows people how to solve that problem, that's going to be a drop everything and what have you got to say type scenario. It's going to pull them into your message. So similarly, what are their frustrations? And what are their top 3 daily frustrations? A daily frustration for a lot of people is the commute to work. So if you can show them how they can, earn a great living without that, chances are they're going to want to read on. So what are they angry about and who are they angry at? Are they angry at their boss? Are they angry at their team? Are they angry at themselves? Are they angry that, or disappointed that they haven't achieved the goals that they set themselves? So secret language. Secret language is huge. So every niche has its own secret language. So, internet marketing has its own secret language. We talk about squeeze pages and click-through rate or link click-through rate and pay-per-click. And I'm trying to think what other, so there are terms that using them shows that you're part of a secret club. And that can be useful if you're trying to attract somebody that's already in your world, because you use that language and it's basically saying, if you understand what these terms mean, then read on. Everyone else is going to say, hey, this isn't for me because I don't understand it. But equally, if you're trying to attract people that aren't in your world yet, then you need to make a list of all of the words and terms that you might use on an everyday basis, but that you can't use if you want to attract your ideal customer, because using them will just isolate them. So age. Now, this may or may not be relevant. So if you are somebody that helps women that have had a baby 3 months ago to get back into their jeans, it doesn't matter whether they're in their 20s, 30s, or 40s. But if you're going to help people to invest in property, you're not going to get anybody in the room that's under 40. So, in that case, it's worth knowing the age of your ideal customer. It's worth knowing, hey, what stage are they in their life? What are they going through? So income. Now, this is relevant from the perspective of, if you say to somebody, if you work really hard and dedicated at this, you're going to, for the next year, you might make £1,000. Well, most people will say, that's not worth my time. But equally, if you said, if you work really hard and you're dedicated, you could make 100 grand. Okay, some people would say, I'm in. Other people might say, that's a waste of my time. Give me something better. So you need to know what do they want? This goes back to what do they want? What is a waste of their time? What goals do they want to achieve? Now, so hobbies. You might be thinking, why is that relevant? Why do you need to know that? But of course, you want to be able to relate to people on multiple levels. So the more you know about your ideal customer, the better you can relate to them. What trends are occurring in their life? Are they like me and their daughter's about to go to school? Or are their kids about to go to university? Do they hope to be able to help their kids get on the property ladder? Or are they 10 years from retirement and thinking, I need a bigger pension? What trends are occurring in their life? So what level of experience do they have of your product or service? Now, this can be useful, so it might be none. They might have no previous experience of your product or service, in which case, fine. You just need to explain to them what it is and how it works. But maybe they do have previous experience, and that may be good, it may be bad. And if it's bad, you need to be aware of what doubts they may have about your product or service. So, which leads into question 17, which is what fears do they have about your product, course, or service? And of course, how can you overcome those fears? And then the final question is the most powerful, which is who does the buyer have to convince or justify their decision to, and what can you give them to do this? So everybody has to justify their decision to somebody, even if they're spending their own money. So if I'm going to spend £100 or £1,000 on an online course, I don't need to tell my wife. But if I'm going to spend 10 grand, she's going to want to know. And she's going to ask me, well, who is this person? Why do you think they can help you? Why do you think you need this? Yeah. So what can you give someone to justify their decision to themselves and to the doubters in their life? Well, I'm going to tell you that a little later in tonight's presentation. So now that we know who we're looking for, so we've gone through that process and we've got a clear idea of who we're looking for. So the next question is, where do we find them? How can we clone our ideal customer? So, Jacob, will we get the slide pack? No, but you will get the you will get the ebook, which goes through some of this, but it doesn't go through all of those questions. It doesn't go through that entire process. So I hope you're taking notes. So where can you find them? How can you clone your ideal customer? So where do they spend time online? So don't be lazy about answering that. Don't just say Facebook. If they spend their time on Facebook, great. But get clear on, do they spend their time just in their newsfeed? Or do they go into specific groups? And if so, which groups are they going into? Similarly, are they on Facebook for fun, but they spend more time on LinkedIn for, conversations in groups? Or are they on Reddit? And if so, which specific subreddits are they in? So get clear on where they spend their time online. Where do they spend their time offline? What do they read? So this could be books, magazines, newspapers. Yeah, what do they listen to? It could be podcasts, it could be audiobooks, it could be the radio. What do they watch? So this could be YouTube channels, it could be TV. Now you might be thinking, why would you need to know what they watch when you're never going to run TV ads? But you can target people with Facebook ads based on what TV programs they watch. So you can say, right, I only want to show my ad to people that like The Apprentice or watch The Apprentice. So it's worth knowing as much as possible about your ideal customer, because it gives you multiple ways in which you can target them or better target them. And then the final question is really powerful, which is where do they ask questions? Now, here's why that's powerful. Because if you can show up where they ask questions with either paid advertising or with organic posts, then they will feel heard. And when you do that, your message cuts through the clutter because it solves a problem they have right now. So if somebody, is in a Facebook group and they say, how do I do this? Or I've run into this roadblock. And you see that and you answer, you respond to their question with, hey, I suffered that exact same thing and I got around it quickly doing X, Y, and Z. Well, so what have you just done? You've demonstrated your expertise. You've proved that you care and you've proved that you want to help. So that one person is like, oh man, thank you so much. But what does the rest of the community see? The rest of the community sees that you're somebody that can help solve problems. You're somebody that's in the community to give value. You're seen as a giver. And you will become known as somebody that can solve problems. You're not just there to, dump some information and run. And when you solve problems like that, then when you then make a post, lots of people will respond to it because they know who you are, because they know that you're somebody that has a lot of experience and a lot of value to give. So similarly, you can show up, where else do people ask questions? On Google, right? So you can show up on Google with Google Ads. And of course, your ads can show up based on keywords that people put in. So answer a specific question that they have, and they are likely to want to, watch your video, download your ebook or whatever, and you're pulling them into your world. So step 2 is to earn their trust. Can you throw them in the air, and will they, know with certainty that you're going to catch them? So this is all about starting a relationship. And it's what I call moving from a one-night stand to a committed relationship. So what do I mean by that? So most businesses are trying to be a one-hit wonder. They want their website to make the sale on the first time it's seen by a potential customer. And this places an unrealistic burden on your website. So let's just say you sell products. So you might have a picture of the product and 300 words or less describing what the product is. If you're clever, rarely, there'll be some words that say what the product will do for somebody. But even if you do everything right, the real question is the customer ready to make a purchase decision? And if not, how can you follow up with them? So of course, to follow up with them, you need their contact details. And this is how you start a relationship with them. So how do you ask for their contact details? You give them something of value, something that will help them solve an immediate problem. This gives you permission to help them achieve their goals and gives you permission to demonstrate your expertise. So this is how you stop being a one-hit wonder and you start a relationship with your ideal customer. Now, of course, relationships develop over time. And to earn someone's trust, you've got to demonstrate that you can deliver on the promises that you make. So what trust-building tools do you have at your disposal? So there are 3 trust-building tools. So the first is valuable content. The second is inspirational personal stories. And the third is customer success stories. So let's look at valuable content. And we're going to look at valuable content for what I call the 3 classes of business. So you've got a business selling products, you've got a business selling services, and you've got a local business. Now, as you'll see here, I've put a bike shop in both local and products because, if you're a specialist bike shop in, Newcastle, but you do your promotion right, if you, build a community with valuable content, then you can sell bikes anywhere in the country. Now, I've also put a comic book shop, I've put that in the product category. So Huntingdon has a comic book shop. Now, I'm talking about rare comics here, not a newsagent selling everyday comics. So a friend of mine collects comics, like he collects rare comics. Now, I was more than a little shocked when he told me that he flew to Vegas to buy an X-Men #1 comic. And for that, he paid £5,000. I was like, man, you're crazy. So why did he fly to Vegas? He flew to Vegas because Stan Lee, the creator of X-Men, was going to be there. So he bought the comic, he got Stan Lee to sign the comic, and then he got it, he's called it embalmed so that the comic wouldn't be damaged. So, he was thrilled. He got this comic that he'd always wanted, he got it signed by Stan Lee, and he was super thrilled about this. So obviously, if you're going to sell £5,000 comics, it doesn't really fall into the local business, even if you have a shop, because how many people in your local area are going to spend that much on comic books? Yeah, you need to have at least a national, if not a global audience. So how can you use content to build a community? So let's take a look at a bike shop. So as I've already said, bike shops can fall into local and product businesses if they're clever about the way they promote themselves. So what valuable content could they create to create trust? Well, the first and easiest thing would be to recommend interesting routes that people could ride on. Because what are you doing? You're helping people enjoy the product they've bought most. And you could recommend interesting rides with maybe a pub halfway around the route. Now, of course, if you're a bike shop in Newcastle, what are you going to do? You're going to start by saying, these are, some great rides in and around this area. But then once you've covered those, you're going to need to expand. So, hey, why not say, these are the 10 most beautiful rides in the country, or these are the 10 best 50-mile rides in the country. So if you bought your bike from their shop, you're on their mailing list, you love their emails, and then you know people in London or in Cambridge or in Huntingdon, and one of the 10 best rides that they recommend happens to be in Huntingdon, what are you going to do? You're going to share it with your friends. You're going to say, hey, you might find this useful. What does that do? That pulls other people into their world. It pulls other people into their community because of the value of the content. So valuable content, helps you build a community, but it also helps your community grow. So what else could they do? Well, they could write their own reviews, right? So the best road bike for under £500, or the best mountain bike for under £500, or the best bike for kids over 10, or maybe the best commuter bike, or the best commuter bike under £500. So that's going to help people make educated decisions about buying a bike. What else could they do? They could talk about upcoming races and charity rides. And of course, we live in England, so they could talk about essential all-weather gear, or, the best all-weather gear to commute in. Whatever, you get the idea. It's how can you help people use the product that they've bought better? How can you help them enjoy the product that they've got? So what if you sell weight loss supplements? So if you sell weight loss supplements, your product helps people lose weight. Well, how could you build a community? You could build a community by sharing the magic diet that lets you lose weight, be more productive, and never feel hungry. Yeah? If you give a recipe and a meal plan, your ideal customers, your community will find that useful. You're helping them achieve their goals faster. But what else? If the recipes and the meal plans are actually tasty and easy to follow, they will get shared. You'll pull in more of, they'll expand your community just because your content's good. What else could you do? You could share zero-time exercise tips, because let's face it, we all struggle for time to do exercise. So if you include shocking or little-known stats, then that makes people, again, want to share it, but want to check it out. So this is a stat, please don't take my word for it, but, this is an example of that. Taking the stairs instead of the lift is the same as doing a 20-minute run. So if that was true, what have you done? You've shared with someone a zero-time exercise tip, something that they can do easily and they don't have to go to the gym. Oh, and it helps them get what they want, which is to lose weight. So what if you're a trainer, mentor, or consultant? What do you need to share? So you need to share your hard-won secrets to do what you do. So you need to reveal all or part of your system so that people can see what makes you different and how you achieve results. But when you share content, you must give your audience an aha. Each piece of content must stand on its own. So, when somebody reads it or watches it, they must be able to do something different at the end. They must go, hey, I've given up my time to learn this. Now I understand it. Thank you. Yeah. Don't give them piecemeals of content that they have to watch a series of things to get the benefit from, because they'll feel shortchanged. So that's how you can earn trust with valuable content. So that's step one and step two. Step one, find your ideal customer. Step two, earn their trust. So step three, how do you make them feel good about buying? So if you're selling one-to-one, then obviously you've got the telephone, or meetings. But if you're selling one-to-many, then an online training or a webinar is one method, and a sales page or a sales letter is another. So how do you do this? You have to you have a replay. Okay, I will email you a replay. I'll email you a replay tomorrow. So thanks for being online. I'm sorry you have to take off. And then how else can you, so to make people feel good about buying, either on an online training or with a sales page, you need these two things. You need storytelling and you need an irresistible offer. So how can you craft a persuasion cathedral? How can you build this beautiful edifice that makes people feel good about buying? So here's the simple system. So you need one, a headline that's going to grab their attention. Two, you need to tell them who you are and why they should trust you. 3, how you discovered your secret. 4, what results you've achieved. 5, here's what I've got, which starts by saying, you're now starting to talk about whether it's a product or service. Then here's what it will do for you. 7 is here's what it costs. 8 is here's why you can get a discount if you act fast. And 9, here's what you need to do next. So what's the simplified version? A headline to pull in your ideal customer. 2, tell an inspirational personal story. 3, make an irresistible offer. It can be that simple. So what's the magic fairy dust that makes all 3 steps easier? The magic fairy dust is storytelling. Why? Because people don't really buy products and services. They buy a set of values. And there's nothing that reveals the values of a company and the people that work there better than the stories that they tell. Stories get past our sales resistance. Stories connect 2 human beings in a memorable way. And stories give you a competitive advantage that no one can steal. Stories arm your prospect with the tools to defend his purchase decision from himself and the doubters in his life. So remember question 18 in that process of how to paint a portrait of your ideal customer is who do they have to justify their decision to, and what can you give them to do that? The answer is a memorable story, a short, memorable, and emotional story. If you give them that, then they will use that to defend their purchase decision. So what stories do you need to tell? Well, you need to tell, who are you? What do you do? How long have you been doing it? Or how successful have you been? How do you help your customers? What makes you different or unique? How did you create your product or service? And why should I trust you? Now, you might be thinking, that's a lot of stories. But here's the good news. There is one story to unite them all, and that is your epic story, or I call it your epic story. And it's the story that explains how you went from the bottom of the mountain to the promised land, how you climbed the first peak and realized, oh man, I'm a long way from where I want to go. And then you talk about the setbacks that you experienced and what made you keep going, even though you realized just how far you were still from achieving your goals. So when you tell your inspirational story, you wrap all of those other 7 points into it. And this is the biggest story. This is your biggest story. This is the story you will tell most often, because this is the story that explains how you created your system, how you created your product, and what makes it different, what makes you unique. Now, you might be thinking, I don't have an inspirational story. And I know that's not true. I know you've got an inspirational personal story that's just waiting to be told. Now, how do I know that? Because you're here with me tonight. That tells me that you're on the path less traveled. And when you're on the path less traveled, you've got an inspirational personal story. But you might also be thinking, I don't know how to tell an inspirational personal story. And I've got some good news for you. I've got a simple 5-step system that I would love to show you. Now, this system is based around the formula that Hollywood screenwriters use. And they've used it in movies as diverse as Rocky, Avatar, Joy, all the way through to cartoons like Moana and Ballerina. It's, hugely different stories, very different genres, yet they've all followed the same formula, the same structure. Now, I've taken that and I've simplified it to make it easier to tell an inspirational personal story. And when you use that system, you won't need to exaggerate or embellish any part of your story. And you will have people sat on the edge of their seats simply because of the way you're telling it. So I would love to help you grow your business. Today, my mission is to prevent every entrepreneur from suffering through the same pain as I did when I watched my business fail. That's why I started a training and mentorship company. You see, I know that you can confidently build your dream business when you can find your ideal customer, earn their trust, and make them feel good about buying. It's as simple as that. And with my system, you can make money on demand without a sales team. You can enjoy a consistent income and relax with the security of knowing where your next sale is coming from. Now, to show you how to use my system, I've created an online course called How to Turn Your Passion and Experience into Your Dream Business. So, How to Turn Your Passion and Experience into Your Dream Business is a 5-module online course, and it shows you how to find your ideal customer, how to earn their trust, how to make them feel good about buying. And it does this with video and online recordings. So as this graphic shows, you can access it on a desktop, on a laptop, on a tablet, and on a phone. And these are both video and audio recordings. So what does that mean? It means that you can learn these secrets at the gym or in the car, on any device with a Wi-Fi connection. So let's take a look at what's inside each module. So module 1 shows you how to find and clone your ideal customer. So this shows you in much, much greater detail how to use the 18-step process that I shared with you tonight. And when you go through it, you'll get really, really clear on how to find the people that need your help and are willing to pay for it. Module 2 shows you how to build a lucrative email database that fuels your business. So this is all about how to start a relationship with your customer. You're asking them for their name and email address so that you can follow up with them. And this module will also show you how to turn information in a database into a community of people that share their hopes and dreams. A community that want you to help them achieve their goals faster than anyone else. So you'll learn the unchanging principles of lead generation that work in any medium. So they work on Facebook, they work on Google, they work in magazines and newspapers, they work through email, and they'll work in whatever new advertising platform comes along. So 15 years ago, there was no Facebook. In 15 years' time, what is there going to be? I don't know. But I know these principles will work. Why? Because they're based on human psychology and emotion. So this is the business asset that lets you relax with the security of knowing where your next sale is coming from. Because your community of raving fans, they know who you are, how you can help them, what makes you different. They know your values. They know they can trust you, and they want you to help them achieve their goals. Module 3 is about how to create a competitive advantage that no one can steal. In other words, it's all about storytelling. So you'll learn how to uncover your inspirational personal story, even if you think you've lived the most boring life in town. You'll also learn how to use my simple 5-step storytelling system. So as I've already said, this is based around the formula that Hollywood screenwriters use. So, George Lucas used this in Star Wars. Sylvester Stallone used it in Rocky. Avatar uses it. As I said, Moana, Ballerina. So, all kinds of movies. And I've simplified what's known as the hero's journey to make it easier to tell an inspirational personal story. So module 4 is all about how to craft and use an irresistible offer. So there are 5 persuasion elements that fit together to craft an irresistible offer. An offer that will make your ideal customer feel good about buying. So more than just showing you how to craft an irresistible offer, I'll show you how to use it. Now you might be thinking, that seems unnecessary. But the truth is that the deal of a lifetime will not make sales without a story. If you obey that rule, your business will thrive. If you ignore it, your business will fail. And module 5 ties together everything that you've learned in the previous modules so you can make money on demand without a sales team and relax with the security of knowing where your next sale is coming from. So you'll be given templates for sales pages and webinar presentations. You don't have to reinvent the wheel. You don't have to spend time, money, and enthusiasm on testing ideas. You can take proven templates and start using them immediately, and simply drop in the elements that you'll create in the previous 4 modules, and you're ready to go. So with this system, you can make money on demand without a sales team, you can relax with the security of where your next sale is coming from, and you can build a business that gives you the income and lifestyle that you want. But more than all of that, I want you to confidently use this system to build your dream business which is why I want to give you feedback from a mentor that works with you to guarantee that you use these secrets to grow your business. So I'm going to throw in free online mentorship. Why? Because my job is not to teach you. It's to help you get results. Results are the only thing that matters at the end of the day. Hard-won knowledge only becomes valuable when you use it, when you take action. And taking action on new knowledge is hard. You've got to learn new skills, and then you've got to step out of your comfort zone to use them. I want you to confidently build your dream business with these secrets, which is why I'm including 5 weeks online mentorship. Why 5 weeks? Because there are 5 modules in this course. This gives you 1 week for each module. This is long enough to fit the studying around your other commitments and short enough to build up some momentum. So by now you must be wondering, what is the investment? So the investment in yourself, in your dream business, is £997. So the screenshot that you can see is what you'll see on Teachable. If you log into Teachable and you search for this course, you'll see that the cost to enroll is £997 plus VAT. So I'm sure you'll agree that's an absolute bargain in comparison with the Chartered Institute of Marketing courses or an MBA, where you won't even learn these secrets. So here's a reminder of everything you're getting. You're getting lifetime access to a 5-module online course called How to Turn Your Passion and Experience into Your Dream Business, and it's £997. You get 5 weeks online mentorship, which should be £500, so that's a total value of £1,497. Now, I know that 997 is an absolute bargain in comparison with a 7-year journey of discovery. It certainly cost me a lot more to learn these secrets. I also know that an investment of £997 will put yourself, it will force you to make a sacrifice that may force you to skip meals out with your family. Now, I know that sacrifice paid off for me big time, but I also know how grateful I am to have a wife that was willing to forego holidays and restaurant dinners for many years. I don't want you to have to make that sacrifice, which is why, for a limited time only, you can save £1,400. So this is a 94% discount that reduces the investment in yourself and in your business to just £97. But that's not all, because you don't risk a penny thanks to my 100% money-back guarantee. So here's how it works. If you invest in this course tonight, and you don't think it's right for you, if you don't think this can help you build your business, then all you have to do is say so within the next 5 weeks, and I'll give you all your money back, and you can keep the course as a thank you from me for giving this a try. Seriously, what am I going to do? Ask you to send it back to me? No, it's an online course. That would be crazy. Now, if you're thinking, isn't everyone going to ask for a refund? No, I don't believe they will. You see, I believe that just like me, you're looking for a way to grow your business, and you will happily invest in a course that gives you results. I want to prove to you that this system works for every business in any market, which is why I'm giving you an unconditional guarantee. So I want you to confidently grow your business with these hard-won secrets, which is why I've included 5 weeks mentorship. So this is my promise. Build your dream business or it's free. So you get lifetime access to a 5-module online course. You get free online mentorship, and I'm reducing the investment that you need to make today to just £20. There will be a rebill of £77 in 30 days, but the investment today is just £20. And of course, you're covered by my 100% money back guarantee. So if you don't think it's right for you, you get all your money back, and you can keep it, and you can keep the product as a thank you from me. So if you want to take advantage of that offer, you need to go to bit.ly/yourdreambusiness offer. Now, it is case sensitive, so you will need to type it in as you see it. In fact, what I'm going to do is I'm going to type that into the chat box so that you can just copy and paste the link into a new browser. Oops. Right, so you can copy and paste that into a new tab, and then you can take advantage of this offer. But does anyone have any questions before we go on? Does anyone have any questions? No? Okay. So if you're thinking, I don't have time right now, that's okay, because you've got lifetime access to this online course. Plus, you can learn these secrets at the gym or in the car because you've got audio and video recordings. But there is one thing that you'll miss out on, and that's the 5 weeks mentorship. But here's the good news. If you know you're going to be stacked for the next few weeks, then all you have to do is drop me an email and let me know when you'd like your 5 weeks mentorship to start. And we can move it. But you must give me a date. Why? Because that will force you to commit to that date. And when you make a commitment to yourself, then amazing things start to happen. Now you might be thinking, does this work for physical products? Now I've used this system to sell both products and services that range in price from £5 to £12,000. And I've used it in markets as diverse as property investment, business opportunity, entrepreneurship, personal development, finance, weight loss, alternative health, and technology. This system is based on the unchanging principles of human psychology and emotion. So, will this work for you? That's the big question, right? Well, I don't have a crystal ball, but there are a few things that I know for sure. Things such as, if I drop a glass, it will fall and break. In the same way, there are things about this system that I know for sure. I know this system only works if you do. If you do the work, you will enjoy stunning results. If you continue doing the work, then you can succeed beyond your wildest imagination. Why? Because these fundamentals do not change. In the same way that a schoolboy plays football with passion and a determination to win, to get better, they must learn the fundamentals of speed, strength, ball skills, and awareness. These fundamentals do not change when they enter the Premiership. Sure, the standard of football has greatly improved, but the fundamentals of the game remain the same. The same is true with these fundamentals. If you want a bigger income and a bigger impact, then you must build a bigger community. If you focus on building a bigger community, then your income will soar. To build a community, you must first find your ideal customer, which is step 1. Then earn their trust, step 2. And if you do those 2 things really well, I guarantee you'll do fine with step 3, which is to make them feel good about buying. You see, most people try to skip step 2 and go straight to the sale. And this burns the relationship and makes growth much, much harder. Now, I'd like to share with you a testimonial from someone that has followed my system. They did an online course and they asked me to coach them with mentorship, and their results are just stunning. So I would like to share with you exactly what they have said. So let me just turn up the volume and play this video for you.
So I run a training and coaching and mentoring business in the property industry, specifically helping people to create a portfolio of HMOs, houses of multiple occupation. And my strapline is that working with me, you can become financially free, 5 properties or less. So the idea is that people join the program and they have a 12-month mentoring program. And I help them to find the right properties, to find the finance, and then to fill the properties with the right tenants, and then to make it a hands-free income. So that's what I've been doing for probably the last couple of years, actually, although it was very part-time to start with. I only really incorporated the business in April 2017. I wanted to grow it, and I wanted to I suppose, have the ability to leverage more. So in other words, to take on other people who I could work with, or to be able to, I suppose, work with more people. I felt that I was constantly sort of hitting my head on a bit of a kind of glass ceiling, not being able to take on new mentees, and therefore not being able to take on new members of staff. So I think that I felt I was a little bit stuck. Well, you always had a very good reputation, Roland. I knew a bit about your work. I knew what you'd done. And I liked your methodology. I thought that was really impressive. I thought that's what I'm lacking, was the methodology to be able to achieve those kind of results. And I also felt that you had the expertise to be able to help me to, for example, craft the right email sequence, or to be able to craft the right message to my audience. And that's what I was looking for help on.
Okay, great. So, what results have you enjoyed in the formats of your work?
Well, my business has really grown. I would say I have probably, well, I've become VAT registered. So again, beforehand, I was sort of hitting my head, about the £83,000 turnover, and I wasn't really confident to become VAT registered, because every few months, mentee would use a program and I'd go back to the previous level. So now I am VAT registered, and my turnover increased to about £100,000. So I would say it's probably added potentially £25,000 additional turnover, which is effectively a quarter. It's another 25% turnover to my business. And I think it's not just, Roland, that's a great accolade for you, but I think it's also that you've helped me, give me some focus, you've helped give me some direction, you've helped give me, I think I felt more committed to my business actually through working with you. I think I felt, right, come on, Wendy, girl, do this. This isn't just a hobby. It's something to, grow and make really effective. And I think working with you has really helped. I'm telling you how I really feel about things. I've told you about some of the dichotomies that I have, the quandaries, the fears, the worries. I can say to you, I don't know about this, and this is how I feel. And you're not scared to emotionally connect with me. That's actually very important. I can be vulnerable. I do sometimes wear my heart on my sleeve, but I've been very glad or grateful to you. You haven't thought, whoa, where's it? You keyed into it. You've gone deeper. You said, okay, why do you think that? Where does that come from? And let's unpick that a little bit. And how does this affect you? So for me, I'm not going to say so much, it's very young, but it's a bit more than just having a system. It's having a person who understands the mindset of where I'm at in my business right now. You can totally understand what it's like to run a business that's turning over the level I'm turning over. I'm not turning over £1 million. I don't have 100 employees. It still feels a little bit precarious at times, and I've got a few people who do some work for me every month. I've got to make sure they get paid, and it's not fairly reliant on me to drive the engine, and you know how that feels. So that's been incredibly worthwhile to me. As much as all the emails I've got, it's had time to say, what do you think about this? What do you think about that? And that's been immensely helpful. Well, I get an incredible sense of self-satisfaction from it. I think that's probably the biggest thing. It's great to be able to have the holidays and have some extra money to spend, and to be able to give as well. I give quite a lot to charity, to have time to do other things. All of those things are fantastic. But I think deep down, it's the sense that I've been able to grow my business and be successful in running like this and changing other people's lives. And ultimately, that's what I want to do. So I'm really excited about the future, and I'm really pleased about, I think, what the possibilities are down the line. So yeah, it's great.
Really fantastic. So what would you say to somebody that was considering that?
I would say if you're feeling that you're hitting your head on this glass ceiling where you've got some results already, you want to make it happen, you've maybe got an idea about how you can make it work, particularly if you are generally swapping your time for money. It's a small business, swapping time for money, but you now need to grow and expand, then I think working with Roland will help you to expand your offering to your client or clientele, and will also give you a much more ability to reach the right people faster. So you will spend less time waiting for the right clients to come in the door, and you'll be able to target them quicker and faster, and therefore escalate your growth much faster than you would have done just trying to do it on your own.
Great. Thank you so much.
You're welcome, Roland. It's been great working with you. Here's to many more years ahead.
So there you have it. You've just seen what's possible when you follow my system. What did Wendy do? She did the work. She followed the system, and now she's enjoying stunning results. So here's my promise to you. My promise to you is build your dream business, or it's free. So you get lifetime access to this course, plus 5 weeks online mentorship. And the investment today is just £20. Now, Mahira's asked, because when you go to the page, it says trial. And he's asked, is it a monthly recurring charge? No, it's not. It's a one-off monthly payment. So sorry, let me rephrase that. It's a one-off payment of £20 today and a rebill of £77 in 30 days' time. So that brings the total investment to £97. But that's it. There's no additional payments or anything like that. So it's £97, but you pay £20 today and £77 in 30 days' time. But you're covered by my 100% money-back guarantee. So if you don't think it's right for you, if you don't think this is going to help you grow your business, all you have to do is say so, and I'll give you all your money back, and you get to keep the product as a thank you from me for giving this a try. So the link to go to is, let me just type it in the chat panel again, because it is case sensitive. So it's bit.ly/your-dream business Lilac offer. So, does anybody have any other questions? No? Well, I promised you a thank you gift at the start of tonight's training, and that is my ultimate business plan. So this shows you how to accurately calculate the time and cost to achieve your goals. So the link to go to, which I'm also going to type in the chat panel, is bit.ly/the ultimate business plan. So you just need to copy and paste that into a new tab on your browser, and then you can download that straight away. There's no opt-in required or anything like that. So you can just go there, grab that now. So if you have any questions, please put them in the chat box. There are some people that have asked if they can get a copy of the recording. So yes, I will email, anyone that's put in the chat that they would like a copy of the recording, then I will email it to them tomorrow. So if you want a copy of that, then just put, yes, please send me the recording into the chat. The people that have asked for it, then obviously I know you want it, and I'll put that in the chat. Are there any other questions? No? Yes, please send me the copy of the recording. Please send me a copy. Okay, great. So, really, I just want to thank you so much for taking the time to learn the only 3 things you need to build your dream business. So I hope that you can now see how you can make money on demand and relax with the security of knowing where your next sale is coming from. I'd love to show you how to do this with my 5-module online course, plus 5 weeks free mentorship. But whether you train with me or with someone else, or you keep figuring this out on your own, I want you to know this. I'm in your corner, and I believe in you. My hope is that there's been something tonight, an idea, a concept, a story that has helped spark you into action. I promise, if you make a commitment to keep growing and learning and surround yourself with people who lift you up, there's nothing you can't achieve. So if you have any questions, then you can give me a call. My mobile number is 07989 408 419, or you can email me at roland.eva@rolandeva.co.uk. If you'd like me to call you, I'm happy to do that. If you just put the number that you'd like me to call you on and the best time to reach you tomorrow, then I'll give you a call tomorrow. So for the people that have asked me to send you a link to the recording, I'll do that tomorrow. And, you know, just thank you so much. So I wish you all the best in your business. As I said, I would love to help you grow your business. And if it's not right for you, if this isn't right for you now, then I just wish you all the best. So thank you so much and have a great evening. Bye.